I'm sure you relish learning new vocabulary, and in today's lesson, I want to teach you some advanced C2 verbs. And because I just mentioned it, let's begin with the verb to relish. What this means is to like or enjoy something, and really, you're just adding a bit of emphasis. So, as I just said, I'm sure you relish learning new vocabulary. You enjoy it, and you know that you're enjoying it. And you can follow this verb with either a gerund or a noun. So to give you a couple of examples, with gerunds, I could say, I relish traveling to exotic locations. Or I relish eating ice cream on a hot summer day. And then, if you're going to follow it with a noun, there are some common collocations, and these are words that are frequently used together. So you may relish the thought, prospect, or idea of doing something, or you may relish the chance or the opportunity to do something, and those are some useful collocations. When it comes to pronouncing the verb, it has two syllables. The stress is on that first syllable, relish.
She won't survive.
I don't relish hurting anyone, Stephen. But she's not a child.
Well, Victoria relishes her status as Queen Bee, right?
Pathologically.
And if you are someone who relishes learning new vocabulary, please subscribe, turn on notifications. That way I can become your teacher. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English. It's all about trying to help you reach your fluency goals. And as we go through the lesson and I talk to you about these different advanced verbs, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the pronunciation as well, because I tried to choose words that may be a little tricky to pronounce, like this next verb, coincide. So this verb has two meanings. The first one is to happen at or near the same time. And often you're going to follow the verb with the preposition with. So you would say that something coincides with something else. And you're not really talking about everyday activities like going to the coffee shop coincides with this. You're talking about events that may not occur regularly. So I could say, look, I'm sorry, I can't go to your birthday party because it coincides with a business trip that I have to take. It's happening at the same time. It also means to be the same or similar. So I could say, if our schedules coincide, then we can plan to travel together. We'll take the train if our schedules coincide and they're the same. For pronunciation, the verb has three syllables. The stress is on that third syllable, coincide. And just keep in mind the C-O-I-N, it's not pronounced as coin, two different syllables, coincide, to coincide with something. And then we have the verb squander. I like this verb even though it has a negative connotation, because it means to waste money or supplies, or to waste opportunities by not taking advantage of them. So in the United States, which is where I am from, I could say many people feel that the government squanders taxpayer money and they just waste that money. You may also hear people use this in a statement and say, hey, don't squander this opportunity. That is a collocation, to squander an opportunity. For pronunciation, the verb has two syllables. The stress is on that first syllable, squander. And keep in mind that S-Q-U-A has that squaw sound, to squander something.
Screw you, Dean. You squandered your gift.
Squandered my gift. Made 68 albums.
Did I want to be made manager? Sure. A great opportunity squandered? Absolutely. A crushing blow? Yes.
Right now, I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's lesson, which is ELSA Speak. And there are many learners who relish using ELSA Speak to fine-tune their pronunciation. So if you are unfamiliar with it, then let me show you how it works. You just download the app, create an account, and there's so much that you can do. Practice daily lessons, improve pronunciation. Let's say that we want to study by topic, and there are a variety of different topics to choose from. So I would like to practice small talk. And as you can see, there are many different lessons to help you practice and improve. But I think the best part of the app is to practice words and phrases that you want to learn. So let's say that we put in the phrase, "Don't squander this opportunity." And then you can listen to it.
Don't squander this opportunity.
And then practice. Don't squander this opportunity. And let me show you what it looks like if a mistake is made and I mispronounce that verb. Don't squander this opportunity. As you can see, you get instant feedback, which then allows you to try to make adjustments. And right now, when you click on the link below and download the ELSA Speak app, you can get 7 days of the Pro membership for free. But you can also use my discount to get 85% off a lifetime membership or 40% off a 1-year membership. As I said, don't squander this opportunity. Check out the links and discounts in the description if you'd like to practice and improve your pronunciation. And before you know it, you'll sound just like a native speaker. Now let's get back to our advanced C2 verbs. And you may be wondering, C2, what does that mean? Well, this is just Cambridge's highest level and really means that you are a proficient speaker of English. And the next C2 verb that I have for you is commemorate. And this means to remember officially and give respect to a great person or event, especially by some public ceremony or by making a statue or a special building. And I thought that I would show you some different news headlines so that you can see how this verb is used in context. Events to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr., or Tulane to host campus celebration to commemorate historic Cotton Bowl win. That's talking about American football. Museum to commemorate 70th anniversary of 1953 floods. Democrats commemorate January 6th attack with tears and silence at U.S. Capitol. So these are just some random news headlines that I found on the day that I created this lesson, and it's just using the verb in context. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding. When pronouncing this verb, it has 4 syllables. The stress is on that second syllable. Commemorate. Commemorate. And just keep in mind that first and third syllable have that schwa sound, that unstressed vowel sound, which sounds like a. Commemorate. Commemorate. And the next verb. That's your hint. What verb is that? And the verb that I'm talking about is gasp.
Gasp.
And it has 2 different meanings, and it's really a difference between talking about, well, one breath or many breaths. So the first meaning is to take a short, quick breath through the mouth because of shock, pain, or surprise. It's just that one breath. Gasp. And people may use this as an interjection and saying something surprising like, and he never returned home and saw his family again. Gasp. Or it's used in storytelling with those dialogue tags to describe speaking. Help me, he gasped. It also means to breathe loudly and with difficulty, really trying to get more air. And in this case, it's several breaths, and often people may end up using it in the continuous tense, gasping. I could say that the wave knocked me over and I was gasping for air. That is a common collocation with this verb, to say that someone is gasping for air. When it comes to pronunciation, I think the most challenging thing about this verb would be saying it in the past tense. Gasp, it's a regular verb, so in the past it's going to end with ed. And because that final p sound is voiceless, the ed is going to take on a t sound. So we have the p sound followed by the t sound, which can be a little difficult. It's going to sound like pt, pt, gasped, gasped. Give it a try. Gasped. Excellent. The next verb is intervene. And this means to intentionally become involved in a situation in order to improve it or just prevent it from getting worse. So if there is an argument or a fight, someone may intervene. I could say that the referee intervened to stop the fight. They just did not want it to get worse. I could also say the Federal Reserve has intervened in financial markets in order to stop inflation, and they're getting involved in the situation to try to improve it. Now, for pronunciation, the verb has 3 syllables. The stress is on that 3rd syllable, intervene. One thing I want to point out when it comes to the American accent, because I'm from the United States, is when the T follows an N sound, especially in unstressed syllables, it may elide and people may drop it. So instead of intervene, you may hear someone say intervene. So just keep that in mind. In the United States, you may hear both pronunciations, one with the T.
Oh, intervene, go ahead, intervene all you want. I'm just afraid you might be interfering while we're intervening.
And one without.
Why would I say something terrible to someone I love?
I curse my thumb!
I'm gonna intervene here.
And then there's to label. This refers to a word or phrase that's used to describe the characteristics or qualities of a person, event, or thing, and really in a way that's unfair. So you may label someone as something. That is a common phrase, to label someone as something. In my lifetime, I have been labeled as a troublemaker at school when I was younger. I've also been labeled as a slacker, which is a noun that means someone who does not work very hard. And of course, I would disagree with this, but it happens if we get the wrong impression of someone or something, and we may label them as this thing, which is usually negative. Now, for pronunciation, the word has 2 syllables. The stress is on that 1st syllable, label. The other thing I'd like to point out is the 2nd syllable, it ends with that dark L, which is that ul sound. And then if we're following it with the word as, I told you that's a common phrase, well then we can link that dark L with the beginning vowel sound in as. Label as, label as.
They imposed struggle and hardship on us, then labeled us as criminals for pushing back.
The mortgage officer had messed up Miranda's application. They had inadvertently labeled her as separated.
The next verb is imply, and this is a very useful verb. It means to communicate an idea or feeling without directly saying it. And because you're not directly saying it, people may use this verb when asking a question, and they would ask, what are you implying? So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to imply something without directly saying it, and I just want you to think about what it is that I'm implying. So if I said, gosh, I really hope that you like this video lesson. And when I say like, I'm talking about enjoy, that you relish learning new vocabulary. And if only there were some way for you to commemorate this lesson so that it gets labeled as a great vocabulary lesson. And now I'm using it in a positive way. It gets labeled as a great lesson. If there was just something that you could do to commemorate this video, and I'm just pointing to that thumbs up because I'm implying that you should hit the like button, and I think that you were probably able to guess that. So when it comes to pronouncing this verb, it has 2 syllables. The stress is on the 2nd syllable, imply. Now, I don't think the pronunciation is too challenging. What I think is difficult about this verb is that it's sometimes confused with another verb, which is infer. And that's the next C2 verb that I want to talk to you about, to infer something. This means to form an opinion or guess that something is true based on the information that you have. So if you see me and I'm just soaking wet, what might you infer about the weather? I imagine that you would infer that it's raining outside. Or maybe you see me and I'm really happy and I'm smiling, grinning from ear to ear. What might you infer? I really don't know. You can let me know down in the comments. The verb, it has 2 syllables. And once again, the stress is on the 2nd syllable, infer. And I don't think the pronunciation is too challenging. Just try not to confuse those 2 verbs, to imply, to infer.
If by me you are inferring that I have BO.
Michael, he wasn't inferring, he was implying. You were inferring.
Was I?
I see. You guys are inferring that I'm stupid.
That's not correct. We were implying it. You then inferred it.
The next verb is to speculate, and I think this is a very useful verb because it's pretty common. People do this all the time, to speculate. It means to guess possible answers to a question when we don't have enough information to be certain. So we do this quite often because, well, I think people just like speculating about different things when trying to explain something that happened and we don't have all the answers and we may speculate, or we're trying to guess what will happen in the future and we can only speculate. To give you an example, I could say journalists are speculating what the president may say in his upcoming announcement. And I think in general it's not always good to speculate, or at least we should tell people that that is what we're doing, because sometimes people will speculate and then others will just take that as the truth and it can cause some problems. Now, the verb has 3 syllables. The stress is on that first syllable, speculate. And I really think this verb is, well, pronounced the way it's spelled. It's pretty straightforward, to speculate. Succumb. So to succumb has 2 different meanings. And once again, I'll show you some news headlines so that you can see how this verb is used in context. So the first meaning is to lose the determination to oppose something. And really, you're just accepting defeat. Visit these popular tourist traps before they succumb to climate change. This is how Israel's economy could succumb to populism. Samsung is first to succumb to a slowing economy that is crushing semiconductors. The next meaning is to die or suffer badly from an illness or injury. Battling Morocco eventually succumbed to injuries. And in this case, they're talking about their football team. To succumb to injuries sustained after falling from mobile tower. When pronouncing this verb, it has 2 syllables and the stress is on that second syllable, succumb. And just keep in mind there is a silent B at the end of the verb, to succumb. And then there's the verb trudge. To trudge means to walk slowly with a lot of effort, especially over a difficult surface or when carrying something heavy. And often you may follow this verb with a preposition. Trudge up, trudge down, trudge over, trudge through. Maybe you had to trudge up a mountain, or perhaps you had to trudge through the snow, and in both situations, you're walking slowly with a lot of effort. For pronunciation, it's just 1 syllable. That DG has that J sound, similar to the word judge. These are rhyming words, trudge, judge. The other thing I'd point out is that if the verb is followed by a preposition that begins with a vowel sound, then linking may occur. Trudge up, trudge over. All right, something to keep in mind. Let's do a little review. Now, I am not going to speculate as to whether or not you will watch another video lesson. I'm sure that you relish building your vocabulary, and because you're still here right now, then I'm just going to infer that you will watch another video lesson, because I don't think you want to squander this amazing opportunity to continue improving your overall English fluency. And I really don't want you to succumb to any feelings of inadequacy when it comes to your language abilities. I want you to stay positive, I want you to stay motivated, and I want you to continue learning new things. All right, that's a little review using these verbs in context. If you enjoyed the lesson, please hit that like button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So long.